She liked the way that I... Hey y'all, it's Peachy Becca here, and I have been cooped up in the house too long. So I got my old braiding hair out, disinfected it, and went ahead and tried this side part pop smoke tutorial. So I see the middle part, but I have a widow's peak and that don't always work for me, so I had to do a side part. So if you're liking these braids, let's get into the tutorial.
Hey guys, so I'm coming here with a side part. I'm gonna start these pop smoke side part. I have combs, an edges brush, a scalp conditioner, moisturizers, and two kinds of like gels. One is actually jam and one is beeswax. So starting with my rat tail, I'm gonna try to part. I'm not doing this middle part because I have a widow's peak and it don't always come out right. So I'm gonna use the tail end just to get a straight part. I'm using jam here so I can see if I can get my part to be extra defined and extra crispy. A lot of professional braiders end up doing that. So just gonna go back over. Sometimes you have to use different parts of the comb. So I'm trying the rat tail part, but the plastic rat tail I feel like does not separate your hair as good as like the metal tip rat tail. So I'm just using a different part of the comb here. I just want my part to be super straight. And I pretty much ended that part at like the crown of my head. So just an idea there. But pretty much just, you know, putting that little time and effort. I'm really just gonna get deep into parting the right side of my head. I'm pretty much gonna part the other side off camera. So going straight down is easy if like you're not really in a position to see, because that helps you get like a crisper part. So I feel like this one came out okay, all things considered. So I'm gonna detangle and then twist off. And then I'm gonna extend this a little bit more just so I can go ahead and have a big braid as well. And then pretty much I'm gonna replicate it on the other side. And in total, I'm gonna have 7 braids. So they're kind of gonna be like jumbo tribals. This one, I just went straight down. And it's gonna get way harder to see, especially with bigger braids. Yeah, I would not suggest using that comb. It does not work well. But that parting straight down with the mouth of the comb works a little bit better sometimes. And honestly, I'm not hell-bent on getting the straightest parts over, but adding jam like does help the process. So because I can't see, I know I'm not mad with it, and I'm just gonna twist it off. So my camera basically died, but I'm just gonna detangle my hair, add some of the beeswax just to get a tacky feel. Then you're just gonna start to see like an actual difference in your hair. I'm gonna get my hair a scrunchy thickness. I'm using old braiding hair that I went through and rinsed in apple cider vinegar and then like dry it off. So that's how I disinfected that. And I also wash my braiding hair when it's still in my head. I just do it. I know it messes up your braid, so I just do it. Anyways, my technique here is when I add the hair, I add it under that middle braid, and then that hair I loop around goes to the outside end, and that's my feed-in technique. So you know, when you separate to do a cornrow, you have 3 braids. I add that track, or I add that piece under the middle braid, and I'm just gonna add a bunch of colors here. So I'm adding under the middle braid, 1 braid, loop back. So pretty much going straight through, carrying out that normal braid. It's gonna get a little tangly. It's old braiding hair. Work in quarantine, it's not like you have that much better things to do with our time. But just continuing that braid and trying to tuck in your natural hair as well. And you can feel when the braid is coming out right or it's not. So just go ahead and make sure your natural hair is being tucked too, because it's also a protective style. So I'm just gonna add a little bit more hair at the end here. And this one is just a little bit like doubled of what the original scrunchie length or thickness we started with. So middle, bring around, and then continue the braid. So you're just gonna rake your finger through as well to just kind of not get it to be tangly. Obviously, you're just gonna try to do the best you can, and then continue to braid it. But I definitely like checking out to see if I didn't scoop extra hair up on the side or something. Just definitely, yeah. I know adding this hair didn't make it like ombre. It came out more so two-toned, which I actually was digging because for me that's a little bit different. And I know I make a bunch of weird faces and I like bite my tongue. I'm gonna bite my tongue this whole tutorial. I just do it when I'm really focused. So just trying to get the tangles out, you know, getting in the groove of things, trying not to get tired. So now that I successfully completed this braid, I'm gonna start on the other side. And I should have kept my edges out a little bit, but whenever I separate out my edges, it never works out. And that was just hair that wasn't picked up when I was doing my feed-in technique. So I just took a little bit of hair. I did not rip my own hair out. But yeah, just a little bit of beeswax just so I can see and idealize how my edges are gonna look. And a lot of people know me for my edges. Well, not a lot of people, but my edges I feel like accentuate my hair. So I really need to make sure I know how my edges are gonna come out before. You get me? I have to know at least if I have to redo the hair or something. Anyways, just gonna get started on this side here so it might be easier for you guys to see. I do have this mist spray that works like a moisturizer, and then like a normal brush. I've had this brush my whole life, literally. But just that beeswax at the top to make it tacky. And you might want to put it on all of your hair because it's gonna help for your hair to stick together. And since we didn't start on blow dried hair, our hair was just a little bit stretched, then yeah. But I realized that the comb part gives you a little bit more control with this. So like obviously if I'm gonna braid and I realize that, you know, there's some stuff I could improve on, I'm gonna go ahead and re-correct that part. So I mean, parting for me is the hardest thing, especially when you can't see. If you can have 3 mirrors, that would be like the best, but I only have 2. And just showing off that first braid. All right, so you're just gonna comb it out, detangle it again, making sure that everything's gonna be like smooth and ready for your technique. And because it's the front of your hair, you kind of want to add a little bit more beeswax. I'm trying to take my edges out this time instead of like going back and like pulling them later. I know like some people think like I'm pulling on my edges, even though I'm not. That hair doesn't fit into the braid anyways. It's just the beeswax that laid it down. But just gonna make sure you detangle that. And then we're starting off again with a scrunchy size thickness. And one of my 30 combs started to fall. So anyways, so yeah, I pretty much parted the front 2 on one side, 2 on the other side, and then the back, instead of making it 2, I just made it into 3. And the easiest part was for me to go down at my nape and kind of like from there measure in thirds and understanding that the second braids finish a little bit behind my ear, so from behind my ear to the other ear, and then measuring from like there into thirds. So anyways, I'm going back and adding some more beeswax. Never enough beeswax. Starting the braid, adding that hair under my middle finger. That other piece stays. Do one solid braid, bring under. Or, well, sorry, add another piece and bring that under. And then loop the other one around. Do another braid, loop it back. And then if you're not adding another piece, you can basically add that top piece of hair to whichever piece is thinnest. So I'm just gonna add some more braiding hair here. Trying to tuck in my hair as well. All right. I'm adding another piece here. My feed-in isn't the best technique because I'm doing them big, like the adding in pieces big, and that's why like you don't get the that's why someone wouldn't get the perfect feed-in. However, doing it like small pieces by small pieces is especially harder when you're using old braiding hair. So just food for thought a little bit. But going through, raking my fingers through, trying to detangle. And kind of like braiding under. I know people can braid over and under, but this kind of helps the braid. So I pretty much finished the 2 braids and decided I was going to do the other ones off camera. I'm going to do my edges before I head off though. Alright, adding some beeswax here. Actually, no, I'm adding my extreme gel here. I'm gonna present it later. Oh, there it is. It like the only gel that works on my hair. Honestly, the beeswax started lifting after a little bit, but this one, it just lays it down special. But I use this only for edges because it flakes after a couple of days. It just doesn't flake when you need it to flake, but like after you sleep, especially if you don't wrap your hair or whatever, it's just gonna flake. And you kind of want to listen to your edges. I feel like this curl was trying to be present, so I gave it its like spotlight, but definitely not just doing, I don't do my edges like a lot of people. So if it's gonna be curly, it's gonna be curly that day, and some days it's just, you know, a little bit just slick back. Anyways, I'm filling these. I'm gonna go ahead and head off camera and then finish the rest. I'm gonna do that last braid here on camera though. We'll see. But definitely you want to make sure your edges get me on point. Even though it's quarantine, you can get a couple of nice selfies in, and just masking that widow's peak a little bit too. But for sure, edges are a big part for me. Let me know if you want an edges tutorial. Comment down below. So I'm back with this last part here, and I'm gonna spray my hair with this mist. It's like a moisturizer, raking that through, adding beeswax to the end of my hair too. Actually, no, that was moisturizer. Now I'm adding beeswax. And you just want to add a smidge. I'm going to show you a little bit. Just enough to get your hair a little tacky. And it started to make my curls pop, I'm not going to lie. It's just so heavy though. I know people who use this for like ponytails or other things and make their hair lay, but definitely adding it to your ends is going to help with the tucking process. But it does make your hair heavy. So just gonna detangle that. That's not my hair. Sometimes parting a little bit at the top and then braiding helps. Sometimes it doesn't. You just kind of have to find your own rhythm. So then you add. This time I'm doing a little bit thicker than scrunchie size. Add another piece under your middle finger. Put it behind. Add that upper piece, loop on the outside. And then here you can add to whatever part is like the smallest. So I think the middle part was the smallest for me again. So just gonna go ahead, and this time I'm adding thicker here, especially on the sides. So under add, braid once, and then turn it over and in. But yeah, definitely not gonna add too much pressure to my ear, but definitely detangle because it's old hair that you disinfected. And then continue the braid. And I'm saying your hair is the most important thing, so I realized a little piece of my hair is coming out, so I went back and kind of like ran my fingers to tuck it in. So definitely understanding that this is more of a protective style than just for looks. So getting through on that braid here. Ooh, so I went and ate dinner off camera. Definitely came back. Hours later, my edges were still pretty okay. This was like 3 hours later, and kind of like sweating a little bit because I cook and then it's hot and whatever. So anyways, my edges stayed intact. So that's why I definitely love that gel. But going through on that last braid, trying to get it to look as uniform and nice as possible. I'm biting my tongue a lot, making a bunch of facial expressions, but you get the gist. And at one point I had to pull a pick out and kind of pick the hair through because it was just getting so tangled. Anyways, it was the last braid, so I was not even that mad. But then I'm gonna go ahead and dip my hair off camera and do my edges just to get the hair to look uniform. But we're pretty much done with this video. I'm still talking, but stay tuned.
Thanks for watching my video, guys. Go ahead and like, comment, and subscribe if you like my content. I'm thinking my next video is going to be a tag of some sort. Stay peachy.